afternoon and welcome back to Football League World TV. It's time for another EFL Transfer Zone show here on the channel. We're going to be talking about all the latest EFL done deals and transfer rumours from across the divisions. My name is Sam Rourke, the Chief Editor of footballleagueworld.co.uk, and I'm joined by my colleague, as ever, Ben Wignall. Ben, how are you getting on this afternoon?
Yeah, all good. Nice little quiet week after I've come back to everyone doing the late transfer business before the EFL season starts on Friday. So there's a hell of a lot to talk about, especially in the Championship where everyone's trying to get their deals done before Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Ben says, the EFL season kicks off Friday night as Huddersfield take on Burnley. But there's still lots of the summer transfer window to go. That officially closes on September the 1st. There's still plenty of time to get business done. As we always do, we're going to talk about some of the latest done deals that have happened over the past few days. Just before we start, we are broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, so get yourself in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on some of the transfers we're going to be talking about on today's show. Right, let's start off with Stoke City. They've been busy in this summer transfer window. They completed another signing over the last few days, and that was Will Smallbone from Southampton. Now, Football League World brought you the exclusive on this a couple of weeks ago. We knew that there were several clubs in the Championship keen on taking the midfielder on loan in this summer window, Stoke being one of them. And the Potters have got a deal over the line. He signed a season-long loan deal at the Bet365 Stadium. Mike O'Neill admitting after the deal was done that he's seen as a replacement for Nick Powell, who's currently injured. He's going to help fill that void in that creative attacking midfield role. Ben, what do you make of this one? Smallbone, we haven't necessarily seen too much of him in a Southampton shirt, but clearly got a lot of potential.
He does, yeah, but I'm quite surprised that, Stoke have got him. They've got a lot of options in that midfield, and I know that Nick Powell suffered another bit of an injury setback, which will keep him out for a few months. But when that midfield's fully fit, they've got, they've added Smallbone to the likes of Powell, Gavin Kilkenny, Lewis Baker, another new signing, Josh Lowen, and also Sam Clucas, Jordan Thompson. So they've got a lot of options there, and it's certainly going to give Michael O'Neill a bit of a selection headache this season. Smallbone, Italy, highly thought of it at Southampton. He's made 20 appearances with them, and he had a bad knee injury at the start of 2021 that has probably stalled his development. It'll be interesting to see where he does fit in. I think he'll probably be the more attacking of a midfield three for Stoke, and even though we've not really seen that much of, he's clearly pretty highly rated at Southampton. So you've got to say it's a good deal for Stoke to get over the line, but it certainly does present O'Neill with a bit of a selection headache going forward.
Yeah, lots of dilemmas in central midfield for O'Neill to consider. I suppose it's a good thing to have lots of options, but there will be players that will be unhappy. They won't be featuring all too often under O'Neill at Stoke. Any Potters fans, let us know in the comments your thoughts on the addition of Will Smallbone. Do you expect him to play a big part next season? We'd like to hear from you. Right, let's touch on another done deal then. Rotherham United have confirmed the signing of Grant Hall from Middlesbrough on loan. He didn't really feature much under Chris Wilder at Borough, was hardly played at all, really. He's now arrived at the New York Stadium as Paul Warne's side embark on another Championship campaign. Rotherham, of course, lost Michael Ihiekwe earlier on in this summer transfer window as he departed for Sheffield Wednesday. So there was a real need to add a centre-back. Hall has made 128 appearances for QPR. So does have plenty of experience in the second tier. Ben, what do you make of this one?
He's definitely a solid player, and he's definitely someone who can, slot in there with Michael Ihiekwe going to Sheffield Wednesday. I think they're definitely very similar defenders in the sense they'll both get, the head on the end of things. And with Rotherham coming back to the Championship, you expect them to do a lot of defending next season against the more prolific attacks. I think, he didn't really have much of a chance at Borough, did Grant Hall. They had a very strong defence, and, under Chris Wilder, he likes to have his defenders, ball playing and coming out from the back, and don't think Hall really fit into that kind of system. But for Rotherham, who will be doing a lot of defending their 18-yard box. I think he'll be a very good fit for the club. And he's a light of players for Heckway, and he'll bring that championship experience. So can't really fault the signing. It's good on loan. It could be a chance it turns into a permanent one next summer if it all goes well.
Yeah, it strikes me as a deal that certainly suits all parties. This one, Hall was never really going to get into that Borough side next season. And Rotherham in need of some experience at the back. Grant Hall looks to be a pretty solid option, you feel. Any Millers fans, let us know in the comments. Are you happy with the addition of Grant Hall? Is he a guaranteed starter in that 11? Right, we've got a couple more done deals to touch on next. Right, let's go back to Stoke City. As I said, they've been busy in this summer window. They completed the signing of Dwight Gayle from Newcastle United on a 2-year deal. Any EFL fans will be no stranger to Dwight Gayle. He knows how to score at this level, although it has been a couple of seasons since he's last been seen at this level. He enjoyed a good spell at West Brom back in the 2018-19 season, scoring 23 goals for them. He has now left Newcastle on a permanent deal to join up with Stoke. Ben, let's get your thoughts on this one then. He was linked with a number of clubs this summer in the second tier. Stoke City are the team that have captured him. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm a bit mixed, to be honest. He's clearly got a fantastic championship scoring record, but I think the main issue I've got is what's his match fitness going to be like. He only played 9 games last season for Newcastle. With the money they've got now, they've been looking for bigger and better players, and obviously at the age he is now, Dwight Gayle, he's not exactly ever been a prolific Premier League scorer when he's got the chance. So, I think the championship is his level, but if we consider he's not played that much in the last 2 years, Stoke could be getting either a player who's really lacking match sharpness, and in turn he could have lost that clinical edge, or he might have still kept that clinicalness. And if he has done, then it's a really good signing for Stoke. I think we'll know more whether it'll be a good or bad signing in the first month of the season. There's a lot of games coming up, and with Stoke, they're not exactly blessed with major attacking options. They lost Stephen Fletcher, they released him, and he's kind of the experienced replacement for him, but he's also a player that, Tyrese Campbell and Jacob Brown, the age they are, and the forwards there, they can learn off Gayle. So he probably won't be coming in just to, score the goals for Stoke. He'll be coming in as a bit of a mentor as well. I can imagine they've probably paid a pretty penny in terms of wages for him, so they'll be expecting a goal return. And if he's the same player that West Brom had a few years ago, then it'll be a great signing. But I do worry in terms of his lack of match time in the last year that he could take a while to get going.
Yeah, as you say, it's been minimal football for him over the last couple of seasons. But we do know at this level he really can find the back of the net. Just finally then, Ben, on this Dwight Gayle deal, we touched on some of the strikers that are already at the Bet365 Stadium, Tyrese Campbell and Jacob Brown, 2 players that have performed well in the Championship. I suppose they're not necessarily out-and-out strikers. Both of them can be deployed on either wing. With Dwight Gayle, I suppose you are getting an out-and-out striker whose sole role is that sort of number 9 role. Do you think that's a sort of benefit for Stoke to have someone like that who's sort of, own sole aim is to score goals through the middle?
I think so, yeah. It does. It gives Michael O'Neill the option to switch systems. I think he's gone with a 3-5-2 in his pre-season games, and that would suggest that he'll be sticking with that. But there's a chance that he could go all 3 up top. Campbell and Brown either side of Gayle, and that what Brown did last season, getting double figures, and we know how good Campbell is when he's fit and firing. That could be a really prolific trio up top. Now, if they play all together at the same time, it remains to be seen. But having a different option like that, who is an out-and-out striker, it can only be good for Michael O'Neill to have that option, and we'll see if he does have that clinical edge that he had a few years ago at this level.
Right, one more done deal then to update you all on from the last few days, and that is Queen's Park Rangers. They completed the signing of Taylor Richards on loan from Brighton with a view to a permanent transfer. The 21-year-old spent some time at St Andrews with Birmingham City last season, but only could muster up 6 appearances for them. Has had a spell at Doncaster Rovers and did impress at the Keep Moat Stadium when he was on loan there. A fresh start for Taylor Richards at QPR. He revealed in his sort of club interview after the deal was done that he's home. He's gone back to the club that he feels that he basically said that QPR was the only club he wanted to join, which is, I suppose, a good thing from an Ars perspective. Ben, what's your thoughts on Taylor Richards? There's clearly potential there. He is only 21 still, but perhaps just hasn't had the rub of the green with the clubs he's been at.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think his time at Birmingham last season was hampered by injuries, and that's why he didn't get the opportunities he might have thought he would have done. And I think he went back to Brighton and made a few appearances in the Premier League. So Graham Potter clearly rates him, but he does need regular minutes in the Championship. And from a QPR's perspective, obviously, we don't exactly know what system Michael Beale's going to go with, but it's probably going to be some kind of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and they definitely needed some extra energy in midfield. You know, they've got the likes of Dazelle and Johansson, and I think they needed someone a bit more creative in there. And Richards definitely does bring a bit of flair and creativity to that engine room. Like you say, he said QPR is the only club he wants to go to, and he grew up around the area. So you know, it's if you've got a player who's playing for the badge and for the shirt, then it's never going to be a bad thing. And this could potentially be the breakout season from 21 years of age. He's still got a lot of football left ahead of him, but he needs to, hit the ground running at QPR, and it could potentially be a good signing. Michael Beale will have these good links with the Premier League due to working with Steven Gerrard, and it seems like he's got a good deal here. Whether or not he's as creative as what QPR need remains to be seen, but he's definitely someone with potential, and this is the place where he could fulfil it.
Yeah, certainly will be an interesting one with Taylor Richards. I suppose a lot of the creative burden last season fell to the likes of Elias Chair and Chris Willock. So I suppose having someone else like that in your attacking arsenal is always good. QPR fans, let us know your thoughts on the addition of Taylor Richards. Are you excited to see what he can bring to Loftus Road next season? Right, that's our look at some of the done deals. We're now going to touch on some of the latest EFL transfer rumours. Right, we spoke about Kemar Roofe on last Friday's EFL Transfer Zone show here on Football League World TV. Derby County were linked with a move for Kemar Roofe, and they've been joined by another League One club. Sheffield Wednesday have entered the race to sign the Rangers' 29-year-old this summer. There are murmurs that he will be leaving Ibrox this summer. He has sort of fell down the pecking order at the Scottish Giants over the last season. Did, of course, play in the Europa League last season and does have lots of experience at the top level. So could be a real coup for a League One side. Ben, I spoke to Carlton Palm this morning and he offered his sort of thoughts on the Kemar Roofe potential addition for Wednesday. And he really liked the idea of it. He kind of suggested it would add an element of pace to that Sheffield Wednesday forward line. And would really complement what they've got there already. What do you make of this one?
I'm completely baffled that Kemar Roofe could be a League One player next season. I think he's definitely still Championship quality. It was only 3 years ago that he banged in 15 for Leeds, and he was still a major part of the Rangers squad last season in Europe and domestically. So I'm a bit surprised he doesn't seem to be in Van Bronckhorst's plans, and if he is going to make a move away, I thought there'd be a lot of Championship interest in him. But I guess the pull that Sheffield Wednesday and Derby both have in being interested in him, that's could be enough to bring him to League One. And if he does sign for one of those two clubs, he's, I think he's a level above League One, so he should fit right in and score a lot of goals. As for the Sheffield Wednesday interest in particular, they've got very good options up front. They've got Lee Gregory, Michael Smith they've added, and they've also got Josh Windass and Callum Patterson. But like you say, he could add an element of pace, something which they probably don't have. And when you look at two of those strikers, Patterson's he's not a natural striker, but he's the position he's most likely to play in. With Josh Windass is a player who's had a questionable fitness record over the last year or so. So there is a need with the games coming up thick and fast in the next few months to add another striker in there, and I think it'd be a massive statement of intent for Sheffield Wednesday if they managed to get it over the line.
Yeah, I must admit, I'd be very shocked if there aren't Championship clubs that do enter the race for Kemar Roofe over the next few days, if he is in fact available from Rangers. Like you say, I totally agree that he's a player that should be playing in the Championship. He'd be a real coup for League One. Any Wednesday fans, get yourself in the comments. Would you like to see Kemar Roofe arrive at Hillsborough? I'd imagine most of you would. Right, let's look at some more transfer rumours next. We've got a couple more to touch on. Some news that sort of was revealed this morning. Troy Parrott's future looks like it's going to be finalised over the next day or two. It looks like Preston North End are going to sign Parrott on loan for the season. He was linked again with loads of clubs in the EFL, Millwall, QPR and Sunderland, just a few that have been keeping tabs on the Republic of Ireland international. Now, Ben, being a PNE fan, what do you make of this one? Are you excited about the potential arrival of Parrott?
I think it's an interesting one. Yeah, I think it must be. He's been at the ground today, so I think it is imminent, and I think he is the kind of the type of striker we need to play alongside Emile Rees now. I think Parrott coming in will probably be the end of Cameron Archer potentially coming back. He must have been told that he's in Stephen Gerrard plans, or else I don't think we'd be pursuing this. But I think obviously had 2 disappointing loan spells at Millwall and Ipswich, but I think last season and an MK Don side that were really attacking. I think playing as a more withdrawn forward as opposed to an off the shoulder number 9. He's kind of developed his game and he's probably matured as a player in that season with the Dons, and he probably needs this step up now. He's still within the Ireland squad, and he thinks he scored against someone this year, so he's clearly needing that Championship game time, and I think he should get it at North End. He'll probably complement Rees very well, who he's a player who likes to play off the shoulder. So Parrott, with his hold-up play and his ability to pick a pass, should be a good fit at North End. He's 20 years old as well, and he's got time to develop on his side. And I think if you believe the reports, he was one of the fittest players in Tottenham's training camp the last few weeks. I think he's impressed Antonio Conte. So he's definitely one to keep an eye out on next season. He's not been the most prolific in his few loan spells, but he's definitely on the improve, and I think this will be a good signing to add to the Irish contingent that we've already got at Deepdale.
Yeah, I suppose you can't look too much into his previous spell in the Championship with Millwall. Didn't necessarily go to plan there. He was, very young for a player in the second tier. He's definitely matured, though. He looked pretty good at MK Dons in the latter end of last season. So an interesting one there for Preston. Looks like they're going to be signing Troy Parrott on loan from Spurs. Any PNE fans in the comments, we want to hear from you. Do you like the sound of the addition of the Spurs forward on loan? Right, there's a bit of a Championship transfer tussle going on at the moment, and that's with regards to Manchester United midfielder Hannibal Mejbri. He's attracting interest from West Brom, Birmingham and Middlesbrough, to name a few. Hannibal's not necessarily going to be a guaranteed starter under Eric Ten Hag next season. Has had a few cameo appearances in the Premier League last season. But it looks like a low move is what we're going to see for Hannibal. Now, Ben, I haven't seen too much of Hannibal. The only time I did see him is when he came off the bench and seemed to tear into everyone when he came on the pitch, making side tackles left, right and centre. I think he got booked as well. I think it was against Liverpool or something last season. But what do you make of the sort of reported interest from the likes of West Brom, Borough and Birmingham? Is he a player that could offer something to them?
Yeah, I've not seen too much from him, but I've got friends who are Man United fans and do watch a little bit of the under-23s where he's mostly played his football, and seems to be really impressed by him. And he's one of these youngsters at United who does need to go out on loan to prove himself, just like James Garner's done at Forest in the last 18 months. And I think Hannibal's a player who does need a Championship loan move. I think with the teams that are linked, I think West Brom probably need him least. They've got John Swift, and they could do another midfielder, but I'm not sure Hannibal would be guaranteed the game time. But with Birmingham and Middlesbrough, they're two teams that could really be in the market for a creative midfielder. Middlesbrough has been linked with Tavernier going to Bournemouth. He could kind of fill that gap, Hannibal. But Birmingham seems to have a good link with Manchester United, they had Chong on loan, they've had Ted and Menji on loan, and I think that could be a link that could be struck. I think Birmingham made some pretty good signings this summer. Dujon Sanderson's come back to the club, and they seem to be a good landing spot for talented young Premier League players. And I think Hannibal could be a good fit in John Eustace's team. And I think he's not quashed the rumours over the weekend. So I think whatever club he lands at, I think Hannibal will be a guaranteed starter wherever he is. And I think he could, be on that upward trajectory that could see him as a United midfielder, in a few years' time.
Yeah, I get the feeling this is a situation that's going to sort of evolve over the next few days. The interest in Hannibal. Again, a player you feel could probably adapt to the rigours and demands of Sky Bet Championship football. Seems quite a physical player, likes to get stuck in. So you'd imagine he'd be do pretty well at second tier level, but we shall see on that one. Right, we've got a couple more EFL transfer rumours to come. Sticking with Premier League loanees, it looks like another a Chelsea player could be heading out back to the EFL on loan. Dujon Sterling has been given the green light to depart Stamford Bridge on a season-long loan deal. Of course, spent last season on loan at Blackpool, made 24 Championship appearances for the Tangerines last term. Queen's Park Rangers and Preston are two clubs linked with a move for the Blues right back in this summer window. Ben, what's your stance on this one? He was pretty impressive at Blackpool. Lots of Tangerines fans were kind of content with his performances. Would he be a good addition for Preston, given you're a P&E fan?
I think he might be. Yeah, he's, from what I've seen, he was defensively solid for Blackpool last season, but I think perhaps because of the system they were playing, his attacking contributions were pretty limited. But I think in a more attacking system he played at Coventry a couple of seasons ago, he was a bit more productive. I think I've seen some P&E fans thinking he won't fit into Ryan Law's system. I think I disagree. He's got a lot of pace, and I think he's someone who could contribute in the final third. I would potentially like to see us add someone permanently in that kind of role. I don't want us to rely on loanees too much, but I think the Cyrus Christie links that came last month have gone a bit quiet. So if Sterling is on offer, then I wouldn't turn my nose up at him, but I'd definitely be considering other, more prolific attacking options for that position.
Yeah, obviously Queen's Park Rangers in need of another right back. Obviously Moses Odubajo left the club in this summer, so there is a need to add in that particular area. Right, any QPR P&E fans, let us know in the comments. Would you like to see Dujon Sterling arrive at your respective club? As we understand it, Chelsea have given him the green light to depart on loan, and QPR and Preston, two of the linked clubs. Right, one more transfer rumour to come next. Huddersfield Town are weighing up a move for Ellis Sims from Everton. Sims spent last season on loan at Hearts, scored 7 goals in 26 appearances for the SPFL side. Just talking about Blackpool, he enjoyed a really fruitful stint at Blackpool. He helped them reach the Championship as they won the playoff final against Lincoln a few seasons ago. Again, such a young player still, only 21. Lots of room to grow and develop as a player. And Huddersfield are the latest club to be linked with a move for Sims in this window. Ben, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it could be a good sign for Huddersfield. I think they definitely need help in the final third. I don't think Danny Ward can do it all on his own. He scored quite a few last season, but I think they're lacking a lot in terms of striking options next season. You've got Jordan Rhodes as well, but I think they're doing the younger option up there. And I think if the £500,000 fee that's been bandied about in recent weeks is accurate, then I think it could be a potential steal. We know Huddersfield have got money coming in from the deals for Lewis O'Brien and Harry Toffolo. So I think if they put a portion of that back into a deal for Sims, and I think it could be really good business. The age he is at 21, he could really improve in the coming years with regular game time, and he's scored goals for both Hearts and Blackpool in the last 2 seasons. So I think he would be a really good signing if Huddersfield's interest is genuine, and can't think of many more strikers of that age who have scored goals at 2 decent levels that would be going for that cheap. So yeah, he would be a very good sign of Huddersfield if they do get it over the line.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Ellis Sims play Oxford in that playoff semi-final at the Kassam Stadium, and it was one of the most standout strike performances I've seen. He was absolutely fantastic, a real menace for that Hughes defence all afternoon. Really good at holding the ball up, likes to run the channels, and has got a real eye for goal. So you feel we could translate that to Championship level. He could really be a good addition for the Terriers. Well, Huddersfield fans, let us know. Would you like to see Ellis Sims arrive at your club in this summer transfer window? We'd love to get your thoughts. Right, a slightly quicker EFL transfer zone this afternoon for you. We're going to be doing these shows more regularly throughout the next few weeks as we build up to transfer deadline day on September the 1st. We have one more show coming up on Football League World TV today, later on at 7:30. Ben, you're going to be back on FLW TV hosting the Fans Voice with Derby County fan Jason Straw as they embark on a League One campaign. Right, well, that's it from me and Ben this afternoon. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, so we really do appreciate all the new subscribers that come and help us reach that first milestone for us. Loads more coming up on FLW TV over the course of the week as we build up to Friday's big EFL kickoff. We've got so many Fans Voice shows coming up. Lots of fans from up and down the country coming on the channel to chat about their respective clubs. But as I said, that's it from myself and Ben on this EFL Transfer Zone show. We shall see you soon.